We are back in Dunedin for the Winmax Brakes Rally Otago, and this week we're looking at the two-wheel drive cars in the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. Three quite unique classes in this group. First up, the FIA Group N and R2 cars, mainly Ford Fiestas and the Suzuki Swift Sport. These are the young drivers hoping to emulate the likes of Ben Hunt, who started here before going on to become New Zealand champion. Then come the open two-wheel drive. No rules, just horsepower. Marcus Van Klink's RX-8, Brent Taylor's H6 engine Toyota 86, Ari Pettigrew's very quick BMW, Wayne Piddham's Millington engine exotic Escort, and Dave Strong's mid-engined V6 Honda Jazz. Finally, the cars in historic class. Jeff Judd in the Escort, John Silcock in a Mazda RX-7, two more Escorts for Shane Merland and Anthony Jones, David Owen returning to the championship in his Escort, Graham Coe in a Mitsubishi Lancer Turbo, and Steve Cox in his very quick Starlet. Paul Fraser rounds out the field of 8 in his Escort. Day 1 stages around Lawrence, and former champ Dylan Thompson straight away on the pace in his FIA Group N class car. He won the morning stages in perfect conditions, even overtaking the Fiesta Proto on stage 1, and took 43 seconds off the stage 3 record. But the big surprise was the pace of Jordan Grant in the Suzuki, second on stage 1, then dropping to third behind Jackson Clendon on 2. But Clendon was out on special stage 3, so Grant moved back to second. Bryn Jones was 10 seconds adrift on stage 2, but a big push by Grant on stage 3 meant the third place Fiesta dropped to a minute behind. Harry Judd is a second generation two-wheel driver, his dad Jeff battling in the historics. There were high hopes that Judd Jr., who's shown great form in a Toyota Starlet, could perform well over the season, but a small mistake on stage 3 would dash his hopes.
You're right. You okay? Oh, shit.
Just too fast around the corner, driver error, downhill left-hander, and yeah, ended up sort of going wide and sort of sliding over the edge of a bank, and that tipped the car over about 4 times. Some pretty bad damage to the car, so that's most likely the championship done for us, but thankfully Ben and I are okay. All the safety gear did its job well, so that's the main thing to take out of it, so yeah.
Brendan Wadsworth finding his legs on stage 3, moving from 7th to 4th. And Jeff Ward in 5th. Marcus Van Klink has been the king of the open two-wheel drive class in his hugely powerful triple-rotor Mazda RX-8. But by the end of the morning stages, the king had lost his throne. Ari Pettigrew was smashing stage records and the competition in his BMW to lead the morning by 1 minute 23 seconds. Brent Taylor in his 6-cylinder Toyota 86 held 3rd place before losing time on stage 3, dropping to 5th. Wayne Piddham's in the Escort moving to 3rd, having a close battle with Dave Strong. Strong's Honda Jazz with a V6 engine in the rear is the most radical car in the class. Not easy to drive, but certainly winning fans with its engine sound. The historic cars running first on the road, as they are all competing in the classic Otago Rally as well, now established as one of the world's top classic events. Shane Merland is hugely experienced in his Escort and would dominate the morning, winning every stage. Jeff Judd was having handling issues, so did well to stay in touch with Merland. A welcome return for John Silcock in his beautiful RX-7 Group B, the only Group B car currently running in New Zealand. He was 3rd. Anthony Jones making the move to historics after running an open two-wheel drive. He was 4th ahead of David Owen in his RS 2000 Escort. Steve Cox has his work cut out in the Toyota Starlet against the more powerful Escorts. But he was ahead of the Paul Fraser RS 1800 after 3 stages. Graham Coe stopped in stage 3, losing 10 minutes, and that would drop him to 8th. The afternoon stages featuring more fast public roads, Dylan Thompson really showing his experience to stretch his lead out over the 3 stages. But Jordan Grant was never far behind in the Suzuki. Unlike the FIA spec Fiestas, this car is New Zealand built, and the first time one of these Swift cars has shown its potential as a rally car. Grant finally rewarded with a stage win at the Tarmac Super Stage 7. Bryn Jones held third through the afternoon, and in the overall rally trailed his dad Anthony by just over a minute, despite having half the horsepower. Brendan Wadsworth in 4th. The class senior, Jeff Ward, the final finisher in 5th. 2 retirements in open class, with an oil pump failure for Pittham's at service and power steering failure for Strong after special stage 5. Pettigrew winning all the stages in the afternoon. Van Klink unchallenged in 2nd, but losing a few seconds every stage to the BMW. Brent Taylor would be the final finisher in 3rd. Some changes at service allowed Jeff Judd to find more pace in the Escort, winning special stage 4 and 6, but time lost in the morning stages meant he'd finished 2nd to Merland, but the gap now only 23 seconds. Silcock, Jones, and Dave Owen unchanged in the top 5. So in the open 2-wheel drive category, it's Ari Pettigrew leading the way in this BMW, Marcus Van Klink 2nd in the Mazda RX-8, Brent Taylor rounding out the top 3. After day 1 in the FIA Group N 2-wheel drive category, it's Dylan Thompson leading the way from Jordan Grant and Bryn Jones. Brendan Wadsworth and Jeff Ward complete the top 5. And in the historics, it's Shane Merland in the Escort ahead of Jeff Judd. John Silcock is in 3rd place with Anthony Jones in 4th, David Owen in 5th, and Steve Cox in 6th. A fine morning for the drivers to wake to as the cars head to the stages around Lake Waihola, including a couple of stages through the Berwick Forest. Dylan Thompson again showing his experience, winning the morning stages and staying puncture-free in the forest. But drama behind him. Jordan Grant got stuck off the road in stage 8, losing over 40 minutes and so out of classification. And Bryn Jones, despite setting 2nd fastest time in stage 8, forced out with broken power steering. Jeff Ward moving up to 2nd, but he was in a close battle with Brendan Wadsworth, just 22 seconds separating the two over the morning. Marcus Van Klink stamped his authority back into the open class with a storming run through the forest to lead by 23 seconds for day 2. But his luck ran out on stage 10 as he misjudged this corner and got stuck off the road. And then Pettigrew suffered a hub failure, dropping him out of contention in a scramble to stay in the event. So Brent Taylor now leading day 2 in the Toyota. Dave Strong in 2nd for the day, having repaired his steering in the Jazz and chasing league bonus points. Shane Merlin punctured on the first stage, having to stop and change the tyre, costing him 7 minutes. That left Judd the leader after the morning stages, but it hadn't all gone his way. John Silcock was fastest through stage 9, but he'd lost 40 seconds to Anthony Jones in stage 8, so Jones held 2nd through the morning. David Owen had his Escort in 4th place. Steve Cox 5th on stage 8, but lost all power and retired on stage 9 in the Starlet. Graham Coe back on day 2 was 5th in the Lancer, and Paul Fraser 6th ahead of Merland. Jordan Grant got out of the afternoon stages but was ineligible for points. So just 3 FIA two-wheel drivers complete day 2. Brendan Wadsworth third on day 2, but second overall for the 2-day event. Jeff Ward then second on day 2, but third overall. The gap just 11 seconds over 14 stages. Ari Pettigrew won 2 of the 3 afternoon stages in the open class, but couldn't make up the lost time for the morning. So Brent Taylor taking the day 2 win and the overall win in the 86. Some consolation for Dave Strong after his Saturday DNF to take second on day 2. In the historic class, Dave Owen retired on special stage 11 with gearbox failure. Graham Coe was running in 4th until going off in the last stage, so Paul Fraser takes 5th in his RS 1800. Shane Merlin coming back to 4th after the morning drama in his Escort. John Silcock and Anthony Jones battled for second place all afternoon, but in the end Jones prevailed by just 4.1 seconds. No doubt about the lead though for Jeff Judd, first home in the New Zealand Historics, second overall in the Otago Classic Rally.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm really happy about that. And it's fantastic John Silcock's here. I mean, you know, he's an inspiration. It's fantastic. And shame about Shane because he's been fast. But it's going to be a good season.
So to the results, and Dylan Thompson taking out the FIA Group N two-wheel drive category from Brendan Wadsworth in second, Jeff Ward in third, and Jordan Grant fourth. The Open two-wheel drive, and it's Ari Pettigrew in the BMW that takes honours from Marcus van Klink in the Mazda RX-8. Brent Taylor in the Toyota is third. And to the historic two-wheel drive now, Jeff Judd takes the victory from John Silcock. Anthony Jones is third, Shane Merlin did fourth, and Paul Fraser completing our top 5. Next up on nzrc.tv, we feature the Rally Challenge highlights, so keep an eye on Facebook and subscribe to nzrc.tv for updates.